Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Elhamdülillahi Rabbil alemin. Vessalatu vesselamu ala seyyidina Muhammedin ve ala alihi ve sahbihi ecma'in. Assalamu alaikum everyone and welcome to the second panel discussion on the topic of illnesses, remedies for the sick. As we went through the first and the second remedy from the 25th flush from the book of flushes, we are inshallah continuing the third one, and in the first one we see that how the life is doing the elongation and becoming fruitful, and we went through the second remedy also, how we can be a patient and being thankful, what kind of point of views we should have it in order to tackle the issues in our life. As we were talking that not only the physical sicknesses like flu or cancer and this and that, we are also having a lot of spiritual sicknesses, mental issues and depression. So Ustad is inshallah finding the true remedies from the pharmacy of Qur'an and sharing with us. Inshallah, today we are fortunate that we have two well-respected guests, Dr. Harun Prim from US and Dr. Colin Turner. He is currently right now in Turkey, and inshallah we will be hosting them. We would like to see and hear their insights about the text, and inshallah we welcome them. And let's start the third remedy. We will read it and we go back to the beginning to discuss inshallah what can be understood from here. So Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, the third remedy: to those who are ill and who are impatient as a result, I would say this: we see all the time that those who come to this world must inevitably leave it, while those who are young inevitably grow old. Death and separation are a constant fixture of human life, and this shows quite clearly that we did not come to this world in order simply to receive pleasure and enjoy ourselves. Furthermore, humans are the most perfect, the most elevated of all living beings. With regard to the organs, members, senses, and faculties that we have been given, of all creatures, we are the best endowed. One could even say that we are the rulers of all animate beings. However, since we dwell on the past pleasures and future pains, we often live grievous, troublesome lives that are worse than that of any animal. This shows that human beings did not come to this world in order to live the high life or to pass their days in ease and pleasure. Humans possess huge assets and a vast capital, and they come to this world in order to work and trade for an eternal life in the hereafter. The capital given to humankind is life itself. Without illness, constant good health and well-being would have caused humans to neglect their duty. They would have turned the world into a pleasure dome, causing the next world to be forgotten. Good health and well-being do not want humankind to remember death and the grave, and so they impel us to squander our life's capital onto trivia. Illness, however, opens the eyes of human beings and says to them, you are not immortal. You have not been left to your own devices. You have a duty. Stop being so proud. Instead, think of the one who created you. For one day you will die and enter the grave. So it is best that you prepare yourselves accordingly. From this perspective, illness is like a guide sent to warn us. It is a truthful advisor who will never lie to us or act deceitfully. For this reason, we should not complain about illness. In fact, we should be thankful for it. And if it is particularly severe, we should pray for the patience to endure it. So we can go back to the beginning of the third remedy, and I would like to hear from our guest speakers, if Colin Abi is available, what messages or how we can implement this remedy in our life. Colin Abi, are you available?
Colin Abi, he is not able to join today, unfortunately.
Okay. So, and I wanna ask then to Harun Abi, could you please share your insight with us, what lessons we can take from this remedy?
Thank you very much, Mustafa, brother Mustafa. Assalamu alaikum. Hi, everyone. That's an amazing treatise, like the other ones. Before maybe third remedy, you know, that's maybe, I always try to link things, you know, that comes before. So I just saw that, you know, at the beginning of this treatise, 25th flash, Ustad Said Nursi just gives a short notice or short note to us, just mentioning that, you know, this treatise was written in very short time, like 4.5 hours, you know, and it's kind of the first draft. And he says he just deliberately didn't touch or modify anything because, you know, he didn't want to just, he wanted to just keep the original feelings or inspirations came from the Quran, as you say. And I always love to see the connection of all treatises to the Quran. And this one obviously comes from the very verses at the beginning. The second one, you know, it says, you know, Allah is who just gives me food, provisions me, and also he gives the remedy whenever I am sick. It comes from the verse. So after that, you know, eventually, I think he gives us a general perception of our ontology, which is the fact that we are very weak, you know, and we are in need of everything. So that's our ontology. And he just reminds us that actually with this ontology, the only thing we can do is to understand our nature, and so that see Allah, the creator, just provides everything for us, and all we need comes from solely him. So this state is being given, I think, from the very beginning of this treatise and very first remedies. As for the third one specifically, I think, isn't it excellent? Like he says that, what do we perceive? I mean, why did we come to this life? We understand sickness, illness just deprives us from what we like, what we have pleasures from. So we are all deprived from our pleasures, tastes, any feelings that we have. It's kind of a sick condition. So, however, that makes us question, did we come to this world really to endure, you know, enjoy all the pleasures? Is this what we came here for? So I think that's a very strong question. And, you know, all philosophy, all people, you know, regardless of their belief system, have to answer this. And based on this answer, actually, we can talk about illnesses. And Said Nursi here obviously takes the stance that, you know, we did not come to this earth, this place, just to endure pleasures. So in the first place, if that's the case, then let's question about illnesses and sicknesses. So it follows that, you know, sicknesses go really well with why we are created for, because it reminds us the hereafter, it reminds us, you know, why we are created. If sicknesses do not say stop to our everyday life, you know, of how we live the life, then we won't be remembering, you know, this very nice question of, you know, why we came to this world, and remember the creator. So that's my initial understanding, you know, just switching the perspective to why we are created.
Thank you very much, Harun Abi, for the great insights, and thanks also for summarizing the early two remedies and linking it with the ayah. It's really powerful, as you said, and also Ustad is making in this remedy, reminding us what is the purpose of our creation, right? Otherwise, if there is no sicknesses, we will just enjoy the life and forgetting the next life, and we're not well prepared. So this is very good that actually when we are thinking that the sickness is our enemy or something, it's uncomfortable for us, but Ustad is giving us a sense of right now, actually this is our friend, this is our actually guide, the true guide, which is always in our side, helping us to consider and use our capital in the best way, right? And I also just want to remind our listeners or other speakers who would like to say anything, please, jump in at any time. This is a formal discussion, inshallah. Ali Abi, Fatih Abi, or Mustafa Abi, please, if you have any thoughts you would like to share about the third remedy, you can do so.
Can I say a couple of words, maybe? Inshallah.
Yes, please. Alaykum salam.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with both of you, right? I mean, with the it changes the paradigm, right? The perspective of the human being, like, because when we have an expectation in life that is set at just getting pleasure, right? Like my expectation in life is just my immediate, instant gratification, instant happiness at any given time, then whenever something bad happens to you that is seemingly bad, you are crushed because your expectation again is to get the most pleasure possible in this world. But when our expectation is that this is a test, this is always, there are going to be ups and downs, and it is okay because my expectation in life is not to receive pleasure at all times. I mean, I will have pleasures, but I will have also down points because my end goal is not the pleasure in this life. My end goal is to pass this test that we are in, right? So when we set our expectations right, correctly, which is this is a test that will come and go, and our reactions to those events will be determining our scores, so to speak, in the hereafter, then that means we should not be sad or crushed or distressed when something seemingly bad happens to us, such as illness, because illness is actually reminds us that it is not only about pleasure. There are going to be troubles in this life. There are going to be things that you won't like. But again, it is your reaction to these things that will determine the outcome. And when we have that expectation right, at the end of the day, we will not be sad or enemies to the sickness, but as you said, be friends with it and accept it as a reminder that life is not all about happiness and pleasure, but is about remembering that it's a test and leading a life according to that. So that's my takeaway from this part. Okay.
Thank you very
and
much,
also,
Mustafa.
can I just
Yes,
chime in
please.
at this point?
Yeah.
Also, here we can see that pleasure is not sustainable. I mean, if we choose the way of pleasure, if we want to forget about everything else, but still it is not sustainable. It's amazing. Like here it is mentioned that, and it is very true, we can judge from our own lives. We have memory, we are the most elevated creature that is created, right? Human beings. We have intellect, we have memory, and so on, that distinguishes us from animals, for example. And with this memory, actually, we cannot sustain pleasures. We know the society, there are a lot of people drinking. The reason to drink is to forget, right? I mean, you can't stand with your memories. If it were pleasures, they're gone. So the pleasure being gone, it gives pain. So even if what I'm saying, we want to just keep on living in a lifestyle that is focused on satisfying pleasures, that is not sustainable, obviously.
Thank you very much, Harun Abi. Is there anyone who would like to contribute? Please feel free to.
Just like a little bit on Mustafa's point and Harun Abi's point as well. I mean, I think we need this understanding of this third remedy a lot more in this day and age, because like our access as humanity to instant pleasure is now like tremendously increased. So for example, like if you want to watch anything, it's in your hand, in your phone. If you want to listen to any music, it's in your hand. And like all other things are much more accessible in this day and age. And then because of that, like going into heedlessness has become much more easier in our times, I believe. I mean, every time had its challenges, but like in our time, it's really very important to remember the what's our purpose in this world. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, we saw kind of this like during COVID, like a lot of people just out of instant pleasures just stopped. I mean, they couldn't go to restaurants, movies, and all other things that they gathered. And like, if they don't have this perspective, anybody who doesn't have this kind of perspective will have like a lot of additional stressors in their lives, like in addition to like being afraid of getting sick and all that stuff, but like not having those pleasures. And like especially if they think that like their only purpose is that to get those pleasures, it's gonna add a lot of stressors. So it's like really very important to like aspect of illness for us to remind us what's the purpose of our lives and what's the purpose of illnesses as well.
Thank you very much, Fatah. It's a very good point. I think this social media, the comfort zone, a lot of pleasures, a variety of foods and many things in our life right now, pushing us more like, comfort, as if like we come to this world to enjoy our life. But as also Harun Abi pointed that it's not a constant pleasure. So Allah is giving a little taste, but He is also turning in another way to remind us through sicknesses or some calamities, saying that you are not permanent in this world. You have a goal to achieve, so wake up. And actually, this illness and sickness is a wake-up call or a true guidance for us to channel us when we are deviated from our main purpose. Even I remember like at the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when the Sahabis are forced to do a hijrah, in early stages, it was not a harsh statement. I mean, there was batches of Sahabis going. And then at the end, there are stages. It was mandatory for all Muslims should leave Mecca to Medina. However, when they arrived to Medina, the weather was quite different than the Mecca, because Mecca is very dry weather and Medina, it has water, wells and date trees. So it was more humid and Sahabis started getting sick and they actually missed the home. And the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam made dua to Allah so that the Sahabis can like the new place. The people who left behind, some of them due to their comfort zone or some properties or some enjoyment they have back home, they were not able to, leave off. However, who knows that, the Medina is going to be the situation like this now, millions of Muslims coming, It is the foundations of the Islam as like a state, and so many benefits. I mean, we don't see what future will bring us out of our discomfortable situation or sicknesses. And I think Ustad is giving also here the formula. The true life is not here, and the purpose you have to push for that, not for the full pleasures and enjoyments. And if no one has any more contribution, we could maybe go a little further. Also, like studies in this third remedy making a comparison between the human being and the animal, because we cannot reach to their level if we are striving for pleasure, right? I mean, a bird doesn't think that what he's gonna eat tomorrow, or what is the retirement plan, or what kind of packages he's gonna get in the coming next few months. However, human beings are all considering this with their mind, and then this gives also pain. You know, if you don't get retired with the right amount of money, you can enjoy your life. That becomes like very trouble for the people. And all of these, it's also reminding us we are not immortal, and these devices are not belong to us, and we have a duty to go. Okay, if we are okay with this third remedy, we can inshallah start the fourth one. Anyone
I-
who wants to say?
Yeah, can I say?
Yes,
can I
please,
share?
Alabi.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Nearly similar sentence, as a meaning similar sentence, 2 times are stated in this remedy. The sentence is this: a human being didn't come to this world for pleasure. There are strong proofs we read together. But this sentence 2 times are stated. The first one without only. The second one with only. I think in translation also second one without only. Can we a little discuss what is the difference between them? Yes, here, which sentence? Second one. Can you show? Yes, this shows in this part. This last sentence. This shows that human beings did not come to this world in order to live. Can you continue? In order to live the high life, or to pass their days in ease and pleasure. Yes, I think I cannot see here only. In the original text, there is only. What is the difference between 2 sentences? In the beginning, without only. Here, with only. What does only refer, indicate? A little we can discuss if you wish. And another thing I'd like to share and I'd like to ask, as stated in this 6th word and other places in Risale-i Nur, there is permissible, licit pleasure in this world also. For example, in the 6th word, it is said that the limits of the permissible are broad and are quite adequate for man's desire. There is no need to trespass on the forbidden. Are quite adequate for man's desire. And in the following sentences, it is said that the duties imposed by Allah are light and few in number. In fact, this is mercy of Allah, favor of Almighty Allah, that the basic duties are light. 5 daily prayers in a day, 1 hour. In the month of Ramadan, 1 month obligatory fasting, and if a person reach or has opportunity to give zakat and to go to Mecca for Hajj, a few in number, and in a large area, also there is pleasure. But what is its place in our life, or what should it be in our life is so important, as you know. Firstly, what can we say? Only can you check the original text in the second sentence? And there is only. In the first one.
Yeah, can we rephrase, Ali Abi? So that means like A human being did not come to this world just to
Yes.
live well and spend
Just-
his life in comfort and ease.
Where is just? I haven't seen just.
Yeah. I mean,
What-
no, it's not written in this
yes, just.
version of it. Yeah. I think
Yes.
maybe, as you said, that only we need to maybe highlight it and draw, underline, because that's a critical one. I think I remember one of the English halakha, you gave an example that if someone goes to, let's say, a business trip,
Yes.
you have a main goal to achieve, but when you go there, you might have some enjoyment and entertainment, but you don't
Yes.
just enjoy and forget your goal to give a seminar or maybe to take a training, right? I think one time I remember you gave an example similar to this concept. So we could have I think, some enjoyment and comfort, but it should not be kind of more enjoyment and forgetting the true goal, right, Ali abi?
Yes, perhaps the same meaning you stated, we can say, I'd like to share perhaps in another way. Yes, there is pleasure, illicit pleasure in this world, but as a believer, all of us should think that if we take illicit pleasure in one opportunity, for example, so that very important, so that we should increase our basic duties, like sleeping. Sleeping should support us in performing basic duties. In fact, the similar sentence in our discussions, I remember, for example, we spent very serious time in 24 hours. Perhaps can be different according to the man's position, child or young or old, or ill or health. But 6 hours, 7 hours, for sleeping, the time is separated or is used. But this doesn't show, nobody can say the human being came to this world for sleeping by looking at the period of time for sleeping seriously. Important time is used for sleeping, but still sleeping is not basic duty, secondary or supporter. What can I say? I don't know. Supporter, not basic. I think illicit pleasure also should be seen in that way. That's why, for example, only a short example, we can say, for example, someone is phoning. What can I cancel? Yeah. My voice is coming, going.
Yes,
hearing you?
yes, we can hear. We can hear you. Yes.
For example, we went, for example, we made picnic, for example, illicit pleasure we took, for example. After that, we should say themselves, "Oh, my soul, I should increase my service of Islam or to know knowledge after that." And after illicit pleasure, not the same level, a little, even a little, the good activities should be increased. Otherwise, nefs desires more and more, even illicit pleasure can be dangerous. I think the example salt can be good example. Salt is nice in meal, but should be in balance or something like that. Yes, licit should be licit and should be what is its place. That's all.
Yes.
And perhaps third one, licit pleasure. I am repeating. Sorry. Licit pleasures should support, should give support our basic duties. Yes.
Very good. Yeah. Thank you very much, Alabi. Very good insights.
One point for the for Ali Abi's mentioning of like the word only is mentioned in the second part. What comes to my mind is, I mean, it might be like educational or pedagogic reasons, because a lot of the times when we don't like the reality or the facts, it's very hard to accept them as a whole. So especially like when you're sick, it might be a little bit harder to accept the fact that like you shouldn't be thinking about pleasures. So like in the first sentence, he didn't use only, because like it's the starting point, and then who's reading this or listening to this is perhaps a sick person. He doesn't have patience. He has lots of problems. He or she has lots of problems. So, and then after that, he explains the difference between like human beings and animals, and then the fact that the like all pleasurable life is not sustainable. After that fact, after explaining that, now he says, like, let me read from the text that Ali Abi mentions. This means that man did not come to this world only in order to live in fine manner and pass his life in ease and pleasure. So after explaining more on the differences between human beings and animals, and it becomes like more acceptable for like easier to accept, let me say, easier to accept for anybody to say you're not, your purpose in this world is not only getting pleasures.
Thank you very much, Fatih abi. Very good point. And I think
Assalamualaikum. Can
Harun
I say
abi?
something also in related to this?
Yes, Nebi abi, please go ahead.
I just jumped. Sorry. Yeah, you know, our religion, Islam, is a religion of balance. Therefore, when we are trying to convey the message of Islam to the others, yeah, we should also, we must keep that balance, you know, fear and hope at the same time. When we make supplication dua, for example, we say, Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan ve fil ahireti hasanatan. Then, since Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's mercy is so broad, so vast, He can give mercy in this world. Also, He can provide us mercy in the hereafter. Therefore, taking pleasure here is also one of the, I think, one of the point to be in the world. I think in the beginning of some words, where was it? I do not remember at the moment, but it was saying that, yeah, human being has come to this world. I think tenazzüh ve ticare. That means that pleasure, for the pleasure, that at the same time for the trade. Yeah, our main purpose to be here is the hereafter trade. That's okay, but at the same time, illicit pleasure can also be taken. Since some of the people think that if he becomes religious in Islam, then he should focus only for the hereafter. But that's not the case, actually. Yeah, Muslims will take real pleasure in this world as well. Yeah, we must focus, we must concentrate, we must also stress on that topic. Yeah, illicit pleasure is enough to give enough pleasure to any kind of the human beings. Therefore, while we are trying to convey the message of Islam to the others, we must also keep that balance. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very much, Nebi abi. Very good, as they pointed out, balancing our life, having also that one in our plate. And we have a question or a point of view in the chat box. Brother Razkar says that, can we relate the 3 viewpoints, Nazar, to the handling of pleasures? First, self-sake, second is hereafter, and the third one is the divine names. So how we can, you know, correlate these viewpoints in this third remedy? Anyone who would like to share their opinion in this aspect? Harun Abi, do you have any opinion on this?
Personally, my understanding is, you know, it's all the assets that we have that Allah bestowed upon us. So I want to take pleasure as a, in this way, a natural feeling. I mean, for example, I talk now, I have pleasure from talking, and we understand these meanings. My heart gets pleasure of it. So personally, I don't want to distinguish like licit and illicit pleasure, because we know, yeah, even with intention, we can just transform any pleasure, you know, to something good. So instead of, I like, you know, looking from the way, and I thanks for Ali brother bringing attention to this only. I think Said Nursi understands Quran so comprehensively that, you know, we are not trapped in some, let's say, marginal roads. Like, you know, we know there are some ways, paths in Sufi path. It just tries to, you know, deprive from all kinds of pleasures, just for the sake of, you know, living a life that is focused on the hereafter. But when we look at the Quran and how Said Nursi understands it, and I love that, we should have pleasures because, again, it is bestowed upon us. Whatever we do, we have pleasure from it. And that's good. I mean, that's neutral. I mean, neutral state is good, pleasures being good. Of course, we understand, you know, if we commit sin, it has pleasure, but these are exceptions. When you write, you get pleasure from it. Again, when you look at beautiful stuff, you know, beautiful views, you get pleasure from it. Here, if I'm to call something illicit, you know, this would be very exceptional part of it. However, here, like, I see many people in career path. Let's say that we are getting into a career path in our job, and we love what we are doing because our skills are improved. And when our skills are improved, we get pleasure from it. These are totally okay. And actually, we know there are beautiful paragraphs in Risale-i Nur that talks about it. Like, any action is itself pleasure. Even Said Nursi looks at inanimate beings getting pleasure since they are just conducting their duties bestowed on them. So everything can be looked from this perspective as, you know, pleasure of actions. So it is totally okay, and it is totally neutral. And here again, I understand also Brother Razgar, I think, brings this classification just to elaborate more. Whatever pleasure we have, of course, I mean, it has relation with our creation. We are kind of, reflecting, we are being mirrors to Esmail Husna, and that's pleasure in and of itself.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Harun Abi. And with these statements, what we come to as a conclusion, I mean, analyzing the human nature, comparing with animal, and what is the role of pleasure and comfort versus, like, I mean, we have minds, we have a lot of faculties. Ustad come to a conclusion that, you know, we are not just here for entertainment. We have actually a business to do. We have a trade. So now we are cornered our nafs. And now Ustad is introducing that we have a capital, how to use it, and how the sickness can help us to use this capital in the best way. Can you share like some of the maybe examples, if you have seen around, how sickness can help us to get the best out of this capital? Anyone who would like to share their opinion, please. Ali Abi, Fatih Abi, or Mustafa Abi?
Each of us have been seen, I think, in our society. Some people become ill, and after becoming ill, for example, if former previous life, if that person drinks alcohol or illicit things, he gives up. He gives up after becoming ill, for example. There are some examples in our society, or before becoming ill, some people do not perform the 5 daily prayers and neglect to make supplication to Almighty Allah. But during illness, time of illness, or he and his or relatives need to make supplication, to take supplication. Everybody remembers the importance of supplication when that person is ill, for example. For example, I visited an ill person years ago in my city. He said that I decided after becoming ill, the job is not everything. Inshallah, if I have health well-being, I will go to home at a suitable time, not too late, so that I should concern with my family and some visit to my relatives, neighbors. But before becoming ill, I wasn't thinking about these things. I only focused on my job, evening, morning, at home, job, about job I was speaking. Now I decided this lifestyle. I think this is showing that illness, as stated in the third remedy. In fact, we can discuss it. Never deceives. What was the yes? Never deceives and serious advisor. More effective than perhaps the speaker who say very good things. From this point of view, illness is an admonition guide, an advisor that never deceives. Never also very interesting. Never also interesting. Advisor that never deceives. Yes, I think nearly. I'd like to say nearly each person before becoming ill, after becoming ill, in their life, something is change. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you very much, Alavi, for sharing these examples, especially like when we are young and like looking for a healthy body, we are closing our eyes for the akhirah. But Ustad is saying here, illness opens the eyes of human beings, and saying these truthful advices from an advisor. But this advisor, as you said, is a truthful advisor and will never lie to anyone. Okay, sometimes the advisors which gives you an advice about your investment, your money, they can hide things. Maybe they could do some wrong judgment. However, illness is such a truthful and such a powerful message that it's giving us this lesson. Okay, I mean, if we are okay with the third remedy, inshallah, we can move to fourth remedy. Okay, so fourth remedy. Inshallah, I would like to read first, and we can come back to beginning after that. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. To those whose illnesses cause them to complain, I say this: you have no right to complain. Your duty is to offer thanks and to be patient. For your body and its organs, members, and faculties do not belong to you. You neither made them yourself nor bought them for elsewhere. This means that they are someone else's property, and their true owner has the right to do with his property exactly as he wishes. As we have seen in the 26th word, a very wealthy and skillful fashion designer, for example, wishes to showcase both his wealth and his artistic skill, and to this end employs someone to model clothes for him. For an hour or two, the model is paid to wear the designer's beautifully tailored, diamond-studded garment, while the designer alters it. In order to demonstrate his art, the designer cuts and trims, altering the length, lowering the hem, taking the garment in at the waist, and so on. Does the model have the right to say to the designer, "You are giving me grief with all this cutting and trimming. You are wearing me out and you are making me look stupid. I'm tired of turning this way and then that just so that you can alter what I am wearing"? Does the model have the right to tell that designer that he is spoiling the model's look by insisting on all these alterations? Does the model have the right to complain in this way? Clearly not. So the sick person who complains of his pains, I would say this, don't be like the designer's model in the example. The all-glorious maker has designed for you a body that is beyond compare, bejeweled with faculties just as your hearing, your vision, your heart, and your powers of reason. Your body has been embroidered with patterns of his most beautiful names, and as with the garment in the example, your maker works on your body constantly, turning it this way and that, putting it through various different states, and altering it as he sees fit. Just as hunger teaches you that he is the one who provides Al-Razzaq, then illness teaches you that he is the one who heals Al-Shafi. Illnesses, trials, and tribulations are all there to show you certain degrees of his beautiful names, for in those flashes of wisdom and rays of mercy, there are many instances of good to be found. If the veil of illness, which you dislike, were lifted, you will find beneath that veil much that is beautiful and full of meaning. Yes, right now we can go back to beginning of our fourth remedy, how we can analyze it and how we can implement it in our life. So Ustad is saying that the illnesses we are complaining, we should not complain. And why we should not complain, I mean, he also mentioned this ownership concept. We see the sicknesses and the doctors are telling that, but is the sickness of ownership, has anyone heard it? Maybe we are doing the wrong ownership. This is maybe a type of sickness. If we can cure it, this will be the remedy of many diseases within our life. So let's turn into Harun Abi, if you would like to share your insight about this fourth remedy, please.
Yeah, this starts very nicely talking about, shukr and sabr, patience, and, appraisal, or being thankful. Again, this is very ontological. I mean, here, I think the key example is this designer versus the model. And indeed, we are model. I think everybody accepts that, since we are born with, let's say, very less consciousness. Then we grow up, be conscious. And when we look back, we really see that we are born. I mean, we did not bring ourselves to this world. So even by any means, we see that we are brought up into this world by many means. And of course, we understand this means has no power in and of themselves too. So from any perspective, I have to accept that I find myself in the middle of this earth when my consciousness, just comes in. So with this consciousness, actually, I have to accept my model position. Then, you know, we talked about pleasures. I get pleasure from anything. I have all my senses, like 5 senses, apparent senses. And also I have my inner faculties that has joy from, you know, compassion, that has joy from, let's say, any nice smell, any nice view again. So I understand that I am a machine, a spiritual machine that takes pleasure, joy from anything. And that's a lump sum payment, as it says here. The designer just made the payment. That's all the pleasures and joy I just have from this life. So even existence, right? Existence itself is a joy. So I'm given this for free. I did not purchase this myself. I'm given this. So from this perspective, yes, what should I do? You know, a conscious person should be thankful in the first place. Again, for the fact that I did not, you know, make up any inner or outer faculties of mine. So I have to be thankful for whatever I'm given for. For the other parts, maybe which looks harder to understand, all the calamities. By the way, yeah, at the end of this treatise, it's not only the illness, it's also the afflictions. So any disaster, any afflictions we are encountered, you know, this is like illness as well. So keeping this in mind, so any affliction I have during the day, what should I do? Should I complain about it? Again, the fact that since I found myself in the middle of this world, since I understand I'm a model, then yeah, there's a place of affliction in this being model. An excellent example, it's like, you know, cutting off this dress or garment in a way that this dress fits better on me. And actually, maybe all of us by experience understand at the end of the day, when the affliction goes away or when I recover from illness, I feel relieved. So it's kind of, I understand all the beauties, all the bounties that I'm given by means of this affliction and illnesses. And during this stage, I just have patience. And once I have patience, you know, it is really the relief that I feel at the end. So if I'm to summarize, yes, we have to accept that we're models, and being model requires, you know, being dressed up and being, you know, being just fulfilled with anything good. And for this, I need to be thankful. On the other side, being model requires being cut, crippled of the dress to fit on myself, and this requires being patient. So that is our worship position, and that's again very ontological with us, to be thankful and to be patient.
Thank you very much, Harun Abi, for your insights. It's really important, as you said, to get to the point where we are offering our thanks to Allah and being patient. We have no right, since this body doesn't belong to us. We did not pay to anyone to get it from a workshop. So it shows from that perspective a point of view that why we should not complain. If it doesn't yours, what right you have to do that? And since also, as you said, you're already paid, it's a paid service to be a model, right? And now I would like to turn Ali Abi, Fatih Abi, or Mustafa Abi, anyone who would like to say how we can relate this one with the names of Allah, you know. This body doesn't belong to us. We don't have a right to complain. And also Ustad mentioned here some names of the Allah. So how we can relate it with the reflection of these names? Could you please share your ideas about this?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
I want to attract your attention to one point. Until this part, the fourth remedy, so the order attracted my attention. The remedies in the first remedy said, make patient, you are gaining a great reward. And the second remedy said, make patience, but rather than making patience, be thankful to Allah, be grateful to Allah for His bounties, because transforming your temporary worldly life, very profitable eternal life, you will be rewarded greatly. And the third remedy reminded us our purpose of life, why we are sent to this world. It's not only pleasure. Yes, we can get pleasure, but it's not for that sake only, getting pleasure. And in the fourth remedy, he is attracting our attention. We don't have any right to complain, because this body is not ours. This is belonging to one who is sustaining it. Right, every second we are going on living, and we are we didn't get this life from somewhere. We didn't pay anything for getting out of nothing. Allah has given us, bestowed us this life, and every second He is making it continue. Right, Allah is Hayy and Qayyum. He is giving life, so He is all living. He, out of His endless life, He is giving life to us, and He is making it continue. We are living, and we didn't pay for that. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, out of His endless mercy, is showing His bounties, endless blessings to us in this life. So He wants us to understand our weakness, so that He is giving us the illnesses, and He is showing also, when He gives the shifa, the healing, He wants us to understand the meaning of Ismi Shafi. So also by being hungry, we understand He is Razzaq. He is the giver of the sustenance. So all these, the purposes Allah has sent us to this world. He has a purpose. He is making us understand His blessings, His bounties, His endless mercy. So this is interesting. Putting this remedy in the fourth, it is very important, I think. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you very
Yeah, I
much,
want to say
Cezmi,
something.
for showing us the pattern. Yes. Anyone who would like to say anything?
Yeah, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum
You know, there is an ayah, الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. If any tribulations hit them, they say, we belong to Allah and we will return to Him. That means that if tribulations or any calamities or the sickness hit the believer, then we must say we belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That means that we do not own our body. The owner is Malik, is his Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Malik is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then we also understand he is Malik. We are the slave. I think if we are the slave, if he is the Malik, then we do not have any right to complain if anything comes from him at the same time. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Nebi Abi, for your insight. Yeah, we cannot complain owner to owner, because he's the owner, he's the giver. So everything is coming from him. I think we should know our position. And also these sicknesses are reminding our true essence is the ibadah, the ajz faqr, right? Those points also is one of the maybe critical thing. But yeah, thanks for everyone. I think we are coming at the end of the session. The time is almost there. If there is no other contribution from anyone, I would like to ask Ali Abi if he's available for a dua.
Yes, سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. ربنا أتمم لنا نورنا واغفر لنا إنك على كل شيء قدير. ربنا اغفر لنا ولإخواننا الذين سبقونا بالإيمان ولا تجعل في قلوبنا غلا للذين آمنوا ربنا إنك رؤوف رحيم. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا لا تجعلنا مع القوم الظالمين. ربنا لا تجعلنا فتنة للقوم الظالمين. ربنا لا تجعلنا فتنة للذين كفروا واغفر لنا ربنا إنك أنت العزيز الحكيم ربنا آمنا بما أنزلت واتبعنا الرسول فاكتبنا مع الشاهدين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد طب القلوب ودوائها وعافية الأبدان وشفائها ونور الأبصار وضيائها وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم اللهم بحق سورة الإخلاص اجعلنا من عبادك المخلصين المخلصين آمين لله تعالى الفاتحة